Hi, everyone. We're so excited to have these two amazing nurse leaders, and I'm going to say nurse advocates that have been doing amazing work. You've probably recognized their faces, but without further ado, I'm actually going to get them to introduce themselves. So I'll start this way.
Hi everyone, I'm Linda Silas, National President for the Canadian Federation of Nurses Union.
And I'm Nicola Ranger, the Chief Nurse at the Royal College of Nursing in the UK.
So it's so great to have both of you here today. I'm going to call you nurse leader powerhouses who have been doing this a very long time. And I think it's really great to see what nursing can do, because a lot of us feel very silenced in our roles. We feel like it's not our place to speak up. So I'd like to start with you, Nicola, and maybe you can tell our listeners what really inspires you to do some of the work that you've been doing.
Thank you. Well, I've led acute hospitals for the past 10 years and worked with the most amazing nurses. But I've witnessed the real underinvestment in nursing over the past 10 years. And then we have the equivalent to our war as nurses with COVID. And we wonder why nurses have had enough. They were given no respite, just straight back into doing their jobs with no real recognition of what they've done. So I think it's time to really speak out for our brilliant nurses. And since being here, I can see the UK story is universal. Our previous ancestors, our previous nurses have stood up for our profession, and it's time for us to do the same now.
I find it really interesting that across the globe there are so many commonalities to the difficult situation that nursing is in. What's your perspective, Linda, from the Canadian side of the border?
Well, as you know, Sarah, I've been doing this work for 20 years now nationally in Canada, and I've never seen it as bad. But what is encouraging is I see the fire in the belly in everyone. They might be upset, they might be burnt out, but they have a resolve to change things. And every nursing organization I work with, either in Canada or across the world, we all want to be on the same page and put our profession as number one, not only in public trust, but number one as the best career we can have. And we will do it because we're working together.
Can I just add something to that? What I see and what I hear, nurses aren't just fighting for themselves and their profession, they're fighting for their patients, because they are so tired of not being able to give the care that they know their patients deserve. So it isn't just about themselves, it's for their profession and it's the people they care for.
You know, I think back to even just some of the conversations that we were having today, and that some of the conversations that we have with nursing students, nurses that reach out to us. And as much as there is that fire in the belly, there's still so much fear in speaking out, so much fear about, like what can we actually intangibly do? So could you both give us a little bit of things that nurses can feel that they can do tangibly in terms of this role of advocacy? Because a lot of us feel like, if we say something, we might rock the boat in the wrong way. And I think that we need to change our perspective. So what advice might you have for nursing students, the early career nurses that want to actually ignite and see change?
Oh, I love rocking the boats, as you know, Amie. Yeah. And I think you do have to rock the boat. We have to say what is happening is not okay. Yes. And enough is enough, as Nicola said. And what's important is follow the process. So in Canada, I'll just speak for Canada, we have professional responsibility form, working condition. We have a process to identify to our employer that this is not safe. Yes. We have occupational health and safety laws. This is not safe. So we have to follow those processes. And if they don't work, we have to speak out. Like knock on all those doors to change things. One thing we've discussed here at the ICN is we need better whistleblower legislation. Yeah. Because it's one thing of me, Linda Silas, telling you speak up, but then if you're disciplined by your employer, your professional college, that's another story. We need good, strong whistleblower legislation so nurses can speak up on their behalf, but on patients' behalf too, because that's part of our professional responsibility, is speak up on behalf of patients.
Yeah, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, I think it is just so more difficult than we recognise. I mean, I've been a senior nurse at board level in hospitals for a very long time. And I think deep down, some of the senior nurses, they feel guilty because they can't always solve the problems for the more junior nurses. So sometimes they're scared of hearing it because it's tough. So I think there's something about the junior nurses and the senior nurses coming together in a way that is constructive for both. When I was junior to my seniors, I was probably made it even more difficult for them without realizing. And so I've learned the commonality is the patient. So find a way to talk to each other without attacking, because people then get defensive. And there is safety in numbers. So get a group of people, and 9 times out of 10, if the patient is at the center, you can find a way to properly express what you're worried about and come together with a solution. It's tough otherwise.
I really like the aspect of solidarity. Oh, sorry. I really do like the aspect of solidarity, because there is that unfortunate lateral violence that occurs. But I think you're right. Solidarity in numbers, and we do need to bridge that gap between having conversations between, those younger nurses and some of those more senior nurses.
And I think there's sometimes a lack of awareness amongst nurses about what it is that some organizations are doing. So there's this perception that, I'm going to look to what my unit specifically is doing, but seeing the bigger picture I think is really important. So if you could both speak about what specifically some of your initiatives are that your respective organizations are working on, I think that'd be great.
Well, we know that our recent strike campaign in the UK has been about fair pay and safe staffing, and those two things go hand in hand. And what's been so great to listen to all of my international colleagues is we need to play catch up with regard to good staffing. That's what nurses want. So our real campaign is going to be safe staffing, because it does save lives.
In Canada, we're right now CFNU is embarking into a research project about hours of work. Like, we have to end these 24 hours. They're dangerous for nurses, they're dangerous for patients. And then we're moving into a safe staffing, a nurse-patient ratio project. And probably, and that's the next 6 months, how do we stop the agency nursing? It is really privatizing our profession. Yes. And I'm not blaming the nurses. Right. They want work life, they want respect, and sometimes the only way they can do it. But we need to work with employers to respect and compensate their committed employees and stop spending billions into agencies.
Thank you both for having this conversation with us today. I think, this is going to enlighten a lot of our listeners and our viewers, also the general public that listens to us. And I really hope that we're going to see change. This is something that unites all of us, all nurses across all jurisdictions, across all countries. And I'm so glad that you both took the time to speak to us today. So thank you so much.